G'day, Doggies fans, all things Bulldogs. It's the podcast episode 27, last edition before Christmas. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everyone. Thank you to all that have supported the channel and interacted. Thank you to everyone on the Facebook pages as well, especially All Things Bulldogs. Big shout outs to Dane for his help with the podcast, and I'll get his help as well in the future. And big shout out to Pete Webber as well on the All Things Bulldogs group, Jimmy Russell, Mark O'Connell, and Susan, who likes everything. Mr. Papali'i, who is always liking everything that's out there. Thank you so much. The two Tims, everyone else, Paulie. Can't name everyone. There's some weird names on there as well I can never remember. And Big Ray, thank you as well. Much appreciated for all the feedback and the people that say hello constantly. And all the mates out there, thank you so much. It's been great. All right, so fair bit to talk about. We've got Fanafel Seve, 18-year-old. He signed a 3-year deal, which will result in a top 30 contract in the third year. That's fantastic. You'll see that going through. In the SG Ball side, I think there's a few of them there that have been offered pretty good contracts. So we've got some young stock coming through. It's just getting them hardened and ready for first grade in the next 3 to 4 to 5 years. Hopefully some emerge before then and are able to do what the likes of Payne Huss has done at the Broncos. But, you can only hope. We didn't get Adam Fanua-Blake, neither did the Dragons. Dragons are facing the harsh reality that, look, they've still got some really key players in their squad. They should be able to get these signatures a little more easier. But Adam Fanua-Blake, I think, is a really good signing for the Sharks. I think that's the best place for him. If you're looking at it, what's best for him. Coming to Canterbury, there'd be a lot more pressure, a lot more of a weight there, I would feel. And I don't know if that would translate into success for him or for the Dogs in the short term, like us fans would want it. Yes, it would make us way more competitive to have a fit Adam Fanua-Blake in the side. He's not too bad with injury, but I'd call mercenary is a strong word, but when you leave contracts early for more money, and you've done it a few times, or 2 or 3 times, that's a fair label. But good on him. Well done. A mate said he's an opportunist. We're the opportunity club. So you'll find a lot of our signings, as we've seen, are players that aren't your first picks. The excitement level of the new recruits, I'm excited by a few of them because I think they will suit Canterbury. But it's hard to get, when Bradley Clyde and Ricky Stewart were coming to join that team that made the 1998 grand final, I was pretty excited. And I think we should have won that competition that year. Can't believe we lost that game to the Storm. We went on to win it, going back through the stuff. But it did help us formulate what we needed to do over the next few years to build that great squad that won the 2004 grand final. So all these things are very, very important. I was excited by Matt Burton coming to the club. I was excited about Villiame Kikau and Reid Marnie. Critter, I'm happy that he's here, now that he is here. Might as well be. And I really hope he does, blossom into everything that his coaches and Gus and Serrato and all the people who think that he's amazing. I hope they are 100% right about that. So I will do a player watch on Critter soon, and there'll also be, I'll match him up with first Blake Taff and Connor Tracy. We'll do a feature on that. We'll do some features on some other positions as well to formulate the best 17. Might even do a vote, but that'd be something to do. We'll do a vote. So we'll vote on all the positions to come up with the most popular top 17 for Canterbury. So that's another thing we can do on the channel. And just talking about the channel, it is monetized now. So if you've got money to burn, and I mean if you've got money to burn, you can say thanks on the channel and make a donation. All money will be reinvested into the channel. I don't apologize. The channel's been mildly successful and done well, so that means it's been able to be monetized. So YouTube's happy for that to happen, and they there's memberships you can join. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but there's stuff with the dog father and that. If you're interested, you can click on the join button and have a look at what's on offer. I won't promise too much, but anyway, look, guys, it's a time where we've got to count our pennies. I don't expect a cent from anyone. I would never ask for money unless it's for a worthy cause or donations. Like a GoFundMe or something like that for others. But if you want to do that sort of stuff, feel free. I already got one, which was fantastic. Somebody just, sent me a thank you with a donation attached, which is all done through YouTube. So honestly, it's good recognition, but my daughter thinks it's fantastic. Like, she's starting to think about, the yacht we're going to buy and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, nah, I don't think that's happening. Although I could be the next Taylor Swift, you never know. I knew I was trouble. No, anyway. I've got a mate who does some really good songs. He just did one on Blake Taff, which is fantastic. Shout out to you, Pete. Never forget Avarillo, and show me the way to Avarillo. He also did Shiraz. Pour me some Shiraz. And also The Black Knight, Liam Knight. Bloody love that song. He's all right. There you go. We could start. I might. That'll be part of the membership. You get a free sing along with Pete Weber. I'll have to pay him though. Anyway, back to it. Did we dodge a bullet with Adam Fanua-Blake? Have we dodged a bullet with Jerome Luai if we don't sign? How does Gus fit into all of that? You know what I mean? How does Gus Gould? What's he doing with the Bulldogs at the moment? How's it all panning out? Is it all Gus or is it circumstance? Is this what he wants? I'm going to give you my thoughts on that. And who's still available? Who is still available to come to the Bulldogs now that we can't get Adam Fanua-Blake? Now that law-wise may still happen, so we'll talk a little bit about the pros and cons of that. But I'm going to look at one of the big fellas coming through, which we looked at Tyrell May last week or the week before. There's another big fella which I think we should be going for. And now that Adam Fanua-Blake signed, I don't see how they can keep this guy in their system. It's Braden Hamlin-Uele. But let's talk about the recruitment wars and what's happening at the moment. So obviously the media are having a field day. The ability to be able to have content write itself to generate clicks is priceless in their industry. It saves them money, saves them time, saves them investment. What they don't like and never want to happen again is for Villiame Kikau, a photo of, Villiame Kikau the day after he's told that he's a free agent, before the media even knew about it, having a photo leaked with him wearing the colours of the team he's going to join. They never want that to happen again. I'm pretty sure you won't see a player put on another team's jersey while they're not, with that team ever again. The ability to have a discussion and to deliberate about where a player is going to land is worth so much as in advertising revenue to these to the media organisations. It's also good for clubs as well, and it is good for player managers. Not always for the club that's buying the player, but the club that's letting go of the player and the player itself, it is very, very good. It's also good for the great operators in the recruitment wars who are quite happy to be linked to numerous signings in order to push the price of those players up. For one, I've never heard any administrator complain about the amount of money that a player gets, even if it's affecting their club or the cap. Everyone wants rugby league and the players in rugby league to do well. When your player's leaving, if they're getting a major pay rise to go elsewhere, when you don't have room to sign them on the money they're on, let alone the money they can get, and you have players that are coming through the system, it's fantastic when you know that the club that's bought that player has paid, a lot more money for that player, because obviously it's just a sign of the top. It's a sign of your strength in your roster, the strength, the confidence you have in your club, and just the very fact that the Panthers had Stephen Crichton on 650 grand, they had Villiame Kikau on 725. Appy Coruscant, I think, was on 600 or 700 grand at the Panthers. Spencer Lanu was on 300 or 400 or less. They've all gone to clubs who are, every one of those players are getting 200 or 300 grand more, and maybe even, and in Jerome Luai sense, it's looking like about 500 or 600 grand more than what they were ever paying those players. And they won premierships with all those players. They won premierships with Kikau, Coruscant, multiple. Now Luai and Crichton and Spencer Lanu there for the lot. So that being the case, they've lost all those players and won two more, gradually, and still won 3 premierships in a row, 4 grand finals in a row. You look at the players they let go leading up to their first grand final appearance. James Maloney, James Tamau, all winners. They've constantly been letting go of winners from their club. Winners and fringe players have left, right? Replaced by juniors and opportunity signings. Look with something to prove, right? It's a perfect system. Canterbury, on the other hand, have a look. In the end of 2021, we had a team where you literally have 3 players in it that would have made the top 17 of any club, let alone a top club. The way we were playing, right? That's improved, and it's improved a lot. There are a number of players in our squad now which would get a go in first grade at another club. The top clubs, there's only a handful of our players which would make the top 13 at the top clubs. And I think that's where we need to readjust our values and our thoughts as well. I don't know how we adjust our values, but adjust our thoughts a little bit. When I hear a lot of the talk about we don't need Jerome Luai, we don't need Adam Fanua-Blake. Obviously, more people want Fanua-Blake than they want Jerome Luai. Let's get that straight out. The same was with Stephen Crichton. A lot of people didn't want his signature. But the fact of the matter is, all these players are better than what we've got as far as what they've achieved, what they've done on the field, what they've done for their country, what they've done for their state, and the premiership rings. Like, it's undeniable. So all of these players are better than what we've got, right? Now, they may not be the best players, but they're better than what we've got. The fact of the matter is you have to pay your salary cap. All salary caps are the same. It's not, the limit's 12 million and you've got to spend a certain percentage of it. 12.5 million or something. Forgive me if I'm a little bit wrong. Doesn't matter. We're thereabouts, right? All clubs have the same cap. All clubs have to spend a minimum amount on that cap. So you've got to pay players anyway. So as long as you're increasing the quality of your top 30, you are improving your squad. Okay? That's the main thing. Now, if you've got a lot of people, I think we've got, 8 players, which is about the average, signed from 2026 and beyond. We have, I think, 13 players signed for 2025 already, or more. Only 8 players off contract for 2024 at the end of 2024. So that's, a much better position that we're in. It's slowly improving. The previous couple of years, there was 13 or 14 off contract and others that were released during the year. So as long as we keep reducing that and building a squad which is there for longer, we're going to be in a much better position. The very fact that a lot of these players we just acquired are only on 2-year contracts, except for the marquee player, which is Crider, right? The rest are on 2-year deals. 2 years isn't a long time. November 2024, those players are able to renegotiate. Some of them will leave early because they will be allowed to, whether they go to England or whether they, go and help another club if they're not cutting it at Canterbury, as far as making a regular first grade or whatever it is. Expect that to happen. Some of those players, whether it be, Hutchinson, Turpin, whoever, they don't make it at Canterbury and it's not looking good, may be a better value proposition for another club in the Northern Hemisphere or in the NRL. Who knows? So that's the point. In relation to these recruitment wars, Gus Gould is very, very good at allowing the media to do its thing and allowing himself to sort of throw his hands up and say he doesn't know or rule things out, which he knows are actually happening. Whatever it is, he seems to be immune to it. He takes the bullets either way. Now, one thing I will tell you about Phil Gould is he was talking about Adam Fanua-Blake. He's like, he's a player we'd definitely be interested in. Doesn't come cheap though. Now, if he's had a meeting with Fanua-Blake and he's not getting the fields, I would suggest that Adam Fanua-Blake has told Gus, look, I want to win a comp. He's never won a comp. So obviously he's probably not your typical mercenary. Winning comps does raise your value, obviously, but he is, 29, 30 years of age, big boy. This is probably his last big contract, you know what I'm saying? Goes to the Sharks. Something's got to give there. Does Dale Finucane retire? Can they keep Braden Hamlin-Uele, who we're going to talk about as a player we should target now, for a lot less than what Adam Fanua-Blake pays? And to me, they're a very similar player, except you're getting more minutes out of Adam. Definitely getting more minutes, and probably not as many injuries, probably more games per season out of Adam Fanua-Blake. Just a couple on average per season, but it's all relative. But for the over $1 million we would have to pay to get him, not worth it. You get Hamlin Uele for 400 to 500 at the same age. I think actually he's 2 years younger than Adam Fanua-Blake. He's a much better value proposition as far as I'm concerned with what he can dish out. He starts matches most of the time, plays his 35, 40 minutes, does a good job, can offload if he's not the main man. When he's the main man in that pack, he puts the offload away and does the hard yards, just like Max King did last year. Put the offload away because he had to make the yards first for the majority of the season. He was the man. The man doesn't do all the offloads. They bring them out as a point of difference in the attack, to bring out something different that they haven't been doing in games, to get things started, to surprise opposition defences and stuff. Don't always play that card generally because they do a hit up one. Like Paul Vaughan rarely offloaded, but he can and he could. But his job was to make the second hit up have that, a much better chance of being successful by having a good first hit up. So look, Gus Gould, I think they would have sensed with Adam Fanua-Blake it wasn't aligning, and the fact his time with the Sharks tells us a lot. He doesn't want to go to the Dragons. They got Blake Laurie there. They got some big boys. I don't know how they were going to afford this fella. They didn't get Dearden either. And good on them. I'm glad they haven't. I think they've got a lot of young juniors there. They just let Jaden Sullivan go when they could have invested more in him. I don't know, outside of looking in, but they've got a lot of overpaid players that they can shed. They got, Zach Lomax is on 800 or 900 grand. Good young player, but he's not worth that. They got the fellow, forget his name. Can't believe I forgot his name. But he was, up for rate charges and all that sort of stuff. He's on big money. Look, I just think that it's just the consequence of the way things are. With COVID and everything, players signed up their players, and we had a new team come in. Players are overstaying with the teams that they're in, and their clubs are prioritising them. The important key players, that is, the prop forwards, the spine. Those players are staying, and the players that do leave are sort of, their clubs just can't afford them. For Penrith, they made their choice. Keep Dylan Edwards or keep Stephen Crichton. They chose Dylan Edwards. Is it keep Nathan Cleary or keep Jerome Luai? Obviously, they're keeping Nathan Cleary. Happy Coruscant, do we keep paying 900 grand or 700 or 800 grand to him? Or can we get some value out of having a couple of hookers that are coming through and we believe in? As in, Sonny Luke and Mitch Kenny. With Sonny Luke being the same age as Nathan and Jerome and everyone else. Come through the juniors with it. It was his time to then get a piece of that pie. They let go of James Tamau. Had to upgrade Fisher Harris and Leota. Spencer Lenu's there as the next one to step up, but is he going to provide what Moses Leota and James Fisher Harris can provide to that team? Probably not. It's like, well, we can only offer you so much. I think he's one they wouldn't have mind keeping, but just probably couldn't afford it and had to get value from other players. So Lenu is going as one of the best interchange props in the game. Still very young, 24, 25. To the Roosters, good system, good coach, good forwards. Will have every opportunity to become the next Jared Warrior-Hargraves or whatever. For him, better to go there. Come to the Bulldogs. He's not going to have as much support in that forward pack. you would have thought, coming from a lot further back, even though there was lots of familiar faces in the club. And that's sort of where we're at. We're getting opportunity signings. We're getting players that are, fringe or top 17, or players with a lot of potential, players looking for opportunities on cheap, quick contracts. We're getting them, and the only other sort of marquees. Obviously, I thought Reid Marnie was a big scout, and can't believe Parra let him go. I thought that was one we did well to get. And he obviously had history with the club, and probably wanted to probably had a lot of motivations about legacy and and running a club, running a team. Obviously, Cameron Smith was a big influence on him. And then you got Josh Curran, I think, is a really good signing. But as far as the Penrith one goes, outside of Burton, Kikau, Crichton, Salmon, none of those players were really ever going to be retained by the Panthers. So, as I've said, when Villiame Kikau signed overnight and cut the media out of that, it made them very unhappy. So now we've got a situation where all these major signings are going to be very similar in the way that we see them. It's the Panthers, they're going to say they want to keep the player, but can only offer so much. They offer enough, which is more than what they're on, which means that they're likely to get paid more. $850 to $900 for Jerome from the Panthers is probably more than they can afford or want to pay anyway. If the Tigers, who need someone, they're like, well, we've got this amount of money, we're going to put it all in this basket with Jerome Luai. The Dogs, who have definitely got money, in spite of what people say, I think can get Jerome for less than that. But it's a lot of money when you've got your family. If we offer $1 million over 4 years, he's basically, he goes to the Tigers on 1.2 over 5. He's guaranteed $6 million. He comes to Canterbury on a $4 million deal. He doesn't, he might make $5 million in the end, where he's guaranteed 6. So it could cost him, $1.5, nearly $2 million. If he stays at Penrith, he's going to cost himself $3 million. Because if he gets an injury or something goes wrong, that money disappears, right? So for Canterbury to get Jerome Luai, we're going to have to pay close to the 1.2. It's not going to be a case of, and we're going to have to do it for for probably 5 years. Like, it's almost an impossible offer to turn down. Almost impossible. And I don't think Gus Gould's going to match it. I think I think we'd be quite happy if the Tigers offered a more reasonable deal, 1.1 for 4 years, so 4.5 over 4. We could get Jerome for $4 million over 4 years. Penrith could have probably done a 3-year deal for $1 million and kept it. But the 1.2 over the 5, that's an extra $1 million. An extra $1 million that he won't get, in my opinion. He won't get it. That's $1 million that he will not get if he doesn't sign that deal. And I don't think that the Gus Gould is going to sign a $1.2 million deal. What I do think Gus Gould has done is help Jerome Luai get an extra $1 million. That's what I believe's happened. I don't think we're holding out hope at all. I think what we've done is played our part in ensuring we've driven up his price. And the Tigers, Richardson's got in there, I think, and just gone, let's get it done. 1.2, no fucking around. There you go. They're probably thinking about offering less, or may have offered less. He's probably picked up the phone of the manager and said 1.2 because he loves Jerome Luai. Yeah, I think it may all change. Luai may sign with the Bulldogs on a 4-year deal for $1 million a year. I don't see why he would need to, in two clubs which are in a similar part of the ladder. And it's not like West don't have any quality players in their side. They've still got Clemmer, Bateman, Coruscant, some really good young halves that have come through, some experienced halves there. They've got some players, trust me, and some young fellas coming through the system like Buller, and some really good pathways development. They're at a single position to the Bulldogs. So if it's about your family, which it is, and he can get an extra $1 million, he's going to get it at the Tigers. I just can't see us matching that. I could see Gus helping him get the extra. I can't see him actually adding, investing in Jerome Luai on a match deal. Because I believe if Gus said to Jerome, we'll give you 1.2 for 5 years, we'll match the Tigers offer if you come to the Bulldogs, I think he'll sign. He'll be like, see you, Tigers. I'll go with you guys. But unless we're getting close to that, I can't see anyone giving that up. Doesn't make sense. Haven't really talked about why it would be good or bad either way. Jerome Luai has a massively good step. It's funny watching the grand final winning try by Nathan Cleary where Jerome had to go off because of his shoulder, which he shouldn't have been playing. Nathan was standing on the left of the field. Big step off his left foot to score the try. Yeah, I've seen Jerome do that numerous times. But I'm not sure if he would have scored it or not. I think the element of surprise and the fatigue factor definitely played their part. But he's more elusive than Nathan Cleary. He's got a pretty good short kicking game. He can kick long if need be. He can bomb. He can place kicks. There's not much he can't do. And I think if given the reins, he'd get his hands on the ball more if required. But at $1.2 million without props, straight away he's going to be, unless we sign some props as well, I'd be quite happy for it. But if the props don't come, he's just going to be under pressure and underappreciated and mocked by the Canterbury fan base. And that's just the reality. Crichton's already going to be under that pressure. Kikau's already felt it. Marnie's already felt it. They've all been Burton. Like the amount of fan displeasure at some of these players because they're our highest paid players. And this is what it's as if, it's the tall poppy syndrome. But as I said before, you have to spend the money in the cap. And these players are the best we've got in those positions. Look, I heard people talking about, and I acknowledge it for the start of the season last year, like Flanagan was providing more value than Burt, but yet Flanagan was the scapegoat. And that's true to a point. But Burton was underdone. Burton was also made captain. And, he had an off-season surgery and stuff, plus no pre-season. It's just the reality of the situation. Oh, and he can't manage a team. They stuck him in a halfback to give him a taste of it, to get his hands on the ball more, to learn. He's only young. That's what I mean. Like, they're playing a long game at the Bulldogs. They definitely are. You've got to coach and you've got to do things to win the war. one NRL game to be sacrificed for future premierships, one season to be sacrificed for future premierships. It's just the way it is. Do I think they could have done a lot of things better? Yes, I do. But is it important potentially that some of the lessons that they got were there to be had? I think so as well. So it's one of those things. It's like they say everything happens for a reason. Maybe it does. People talk about fate, they talk about lots of things. But I think with the Bulldogs, if you're going to sit there and rate our performance, you have to rate how we compete and how we play the game. And one thing about us last year is that there were moments in games where I saw what we could be. I never saw that in the 2020 or 21, even in 2019, really. I never really saw what we could be. Even in 2022, when we beat Para by that amount, I didn't see what we could be. I saw, an Averillo intercept early to get us to 10-0. A couple of good tries with some offloads and good team tries and lots of happiness and some magic from Burton to the Fox and that sort of stuff. But when I talk about us playing the game through the middle and setting things up, I saw moments of that last year. Even in games we got flogged in. Even when it was only for 2 or 3 sets, where I saw us driving teams back. There was a game where Tavita was going absolutely fucking great guns. He did 3 or 4 runs, made heaps of meters, was made post contact, just decided he just showed everyone he was the fucking man. And then on the 5th set, when everything's under control, he does an offload. Same thing as in Origin, leads to a try. He runs up to smash somebody, they step inside, they go and score a try. But all the play leading up to that against one of the competition heavyweights or one of the better teams in the competition, we looked like we were on top. We looked like we were dominating them in the forwards. I saw it against Newcastle in the second game for a little bit. I saw it against Parramatta. Saw it against South Sydney earlier in the year. There were moments in games where I looked at us and said, the way we are playing for this 5 or 10 minute period is a roadmap of how we need to do things in the future. The problem was something would go wrong and then things would fall apart, or a fatigue would come in, or inexperience would come in, or a selfish play, whatever it was. Bad luck, bad referees call, could be anything. A lot of it was self-inflicted. But the point I'm making is that I saw the team we could be if we do things together, do it right. We had players there that were executing this over a period of time. If they could map that out for longer in the match, we would go a long way to winning it, and winning it well, and and really climbing up the ladder. So I think there's a lot of potential in our side. The players they've brought, I think we're going to see that as well. I'm excited about our back line. The 12 variations of it all excite me. I'm excited about New South Wales Cup and Flag and the whole club championship again. It's very hard to win Harold Matts and NSG ball, and that it's very hard to win those comps back to back. Doesn't get done too often. Jersey Flag and the like any grand final, it's hard to replicate. But the thing is, you've got all new people coming through, and they've continued to recruit some of the best youngsters in the land and bring some talented youngsters through our system. It's all leading to a really good outcome. So there you go. I've talked a lot without much of a break. As far as 2025 goes, I've said that I like Terrell May. Really want him to come to the club. What he did in the absence of Jared Warrior-Hargroves, amazing. Braden Hamlin-Uele can do it all in the middle. He starts most games for the Sharks. He's their enforcer. Adam Fanua-Blake's probably a rung above him in what he's delivered. But I think they're in a very similar mould, and Braden Hamlin-Uele would help our front rower stocks immensely. Bring him to our club and we're a better team. Simple as that. We don't become a top 4 team, maybe not even a top 8 team, but we climb wherever we are. We climb another spot or two. And that's what we have to do. As I said, we've got to spend the salary cap. If you can get him on a 2 or 3 year deal for 350 to 450 a year, you take him for sure. I don't think he might be one that ends up at the Dragons. The Dragons might have a big play at him now. If I'm the Dogs, I'm going hard on him and I'm going hard on May. You get those two, that helps us enough with the players that we've got coming through as well to advance us up the ladder a little bit. The more we advance up the ladder, the more competitive we are in matches. Taking the long road, the more likely we are to sign a big fish when it's available. Right now, that big fish is just struggling to come to us at a decent price, and good on Gus Gould in the recruitment wars for driving the price of some players up. At the same time, having money available in the cap and, having the ability that if there is a player that's available, that we're in the conversation, we can talk to them, we've got a chance of getting them. And once they see our team and our club continue to do well from a junior perspective to improve in the NRL, as that progresses, the likelihood of getting that big fish to come is just going to increase and increase. So there you go. That's my thoughts on it. I think we've dodged a bullet with Adam Fanua-Blake. I really do. I don't think it would have been great for him. I don't think it would have been great for us. While I'd be excited having him come, don't get me wrong, the price we have to pay for him, I just think from a longer term point of view, if we do get a couple of these other players that are on the market, it's probably going to be better for the longevity and better for the future. I don't see us making the 8 next year. I don't see us winning the comp. If we can be in the picture, be in the running, be in the hunt, that'll be fantastic. And then, whatever comes as a bonus. And in beyond 2025, unless we can get a couple more props into our club, we won't probably improve much more. But look, the players like Max King, Liam Knight, Chris Patolo, Sam Hughes, they've all got something to say about this, right? They've got it all to prove to us. And let's get behind them. There's so many people, we talk above their heads all the time, and there's a lot of people say they're lightweights and they're crap and whatever else. Well, maybe these guys have got something to say about that, right? Sam Hughes, he's not a small boy. He was a tall back rower to start off with. They decided at Parrot I'm going to make him into a prop. He's one that was brought over quite, in a mid-season transfer or a mid-season deal. Got a top 30 contract the following year and extended to it for another year. Improved every game he played. Has skills, has ball skills. I like him. There is something about him. If he can stay injury-free, I think you might see another one step up for us that we didn't expect. And hopefully Gus he named Jacob Preston. Obviously, the analyst Scott Woodward was very excited about him, and they chased him hard when no one else really was. And hopefully Sam Hughes is another one of these, because what Gus is doing is he's creating these players. Obviously not him directly, but he's having the conversations and the coaches and that they're all working on these players, a certain type of player that can develop and turn into a prodigy for Canterbury. Feels like I've said a lot and not covered everything, but look, the recruitment wars, they require the media to do its thing. Clubs that are set up and letting players go, those players, they help them make as much money out the door, which weakens the clubs they go to as far as the balance of their salary cap goes. And then what they try to do is then get a player from one of those clubs on cheap money that they get more value out of. And that's how it works. They get their opportunity signings like that, and they bring their juniors up. Same with the Roosters, same with the Storm. They all try and do it the same way. All clubs are trying to do the same thing. And the media, the player manager, and the club itself all play their part. Gus in the recruitment wars is a bit different because he operates under the perception that unless they want out, he's not interested. Unless they want to be a part of Canterbury, unless they're sort of bringing him up and knocking on the door, saying they want an opportunity, they're interested. Apparently, he doesn't release how desperate we are in the chase. And by so far, he hasn't really gone out there and paid big money for anyone. Stephen Crichton, I was afraid they were going to give him nearly $1 million. 800 mark. He's on a comparison with Joey Manu. Burton upgraded to around 700. They were talking 900 at another club, Roosters getting him. There was all this talk. The Fox on 550 was a necessary thing. It's paved the way for excitement and engagement, and memberships, and getting other players to the club. Kikau's probably overs for what we've got out of him so far, but that's just been circumstance. It's got nothing to do with his intent or anything like that. It's just been the circumstance. So, look, I think things are moving in the right direction, and I'm glad we've got Gus there. Through all his detractors, there's no one who loves Canterbury or would be a part of our club that is as strong as he is. He's proving his worth in the fact that he's not succumbing to paying the big money. There's been a few big marquees on the market. We haven't got any of them. The likes of Luai, the likes of Ben Hunt, Payne Haas, Tino, and the like, and Fanua Blake. But look how much money all these players have been paid to either stay at their clubs or move clubs. They've all got huge money. Huge money. Right? So, with that being the case, Gus has done a good job in that regard. And not just Gus, our whole recruitment team. So, if they pull out of the race for someone and it becomes official, it's usually with good reason. They either want too much or their values aren't lining up with where we're going. If a player says that he wants to win a premiership before he retires and he's only got 3 years left, I don't think Gus is going to sit there and keep preaching to him, is he? He's probably going to let them finish their meal and wish them a happy Merry Christmas. Anyway, guys, 49 minutes of me blabbering on. Thanks to everyone who's had a chat and contributed. Not every podcast is exciting or great to listen to, but if you love Canterbury like I do, you look forward to hearing any sort of discussion on it, which is why I watch a lot of podcasts and listen to a lot of things and share a lot of views on my beloved club. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas to everyone. Might release a couple of little videos before the Christmas happens, but we'll see. Look out for them as they're released. Take care, guys. Thank you very much.